right, today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at the Fury GT-EV3 gaming racing steering wheel, meant to be used with your Nintendo Switch, your PlayStation 4, or your PC. This was sent out to me by the folks over at evoretro, so thank you for sending this out for review. You get this box, of course, product packaging. Inside the packaging you get an instruction manual, a quick start guide, a how-to, shows you how to connect it, program it, because it does have programmable buttons and keys. And you also get this very large shoulder sling style carrying pack travel case that you can use for the steering wheel itself. Examining the steering wheel, first and foremost we got to look at the brackets. It's meant to attach to a table. The spacing at the brackets is about 2 inches wide, so if you have a super thick table of something like that, this isn't going to be the product for you. Like I said, it maxes out at 2 inches. One cool feature I do like on it though is it has these little handy adjustable little feet there, so that way if you have a table that is has a lip on it and that's not necessarily thick all the way around, it has just a lip and it's super thin in the middle, this will help it connect tightly around the side of the table and then make it have that contact point in the middle of the table, so that way it's not wobbling around. And these are completely removable. You can adjust it, move it far, forward, back. Very, very handy feature, but once you get it attached to the table, it should be sturdy, but like I said, it's just completely dependent on how thick your table or desk or whatever you're trying to attach it to. So your buttons, you have a D-pad, you have your sensitivity button, you have your LSB and your RSB, so your right and left shoulder buttons over here, left trigger, right trigger, A, B, X, and Y, and then you have your PR, your mode, your back, and your start. And you also have some paddle shifters back here, and I will say these paddle shifters are extremely thin. Definitely the weakest part of this entire build, if you had to personally ask me. The entire construction of this device everything is plastic. It doesn't feel subpar. This is an introductory product, so price point is about $95 MSRP on Amazon. You also do get a little built-in gear shift lever over here. It goes forward and back. It also has an action button on the thumb side of it. That way you can trigger an other command, whether it be handbrake. So you can use the shift up and shift down, and if you wanted an e-brake, you could do that. Like I said, completely programmable buttons. Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 compatible. You do have to connect the PlayStation 4 controller to this to get it to work on the PlayStation 4, which is not ideal if you ask me. So you've got your port back here to connect the PlayStation 4 controller should you wish, and then a port back here to connect the actual gaming foot pedals themselves. So here we have the foot pedal base. You have your gas and brake, no clutch or anything like that. Again, all plastic construction, and the width of it is about 8.5 inches, and the depth of the foot pad is again 8.5 inches. So if you got crazy large feet, maybe have to look somewhere else. It does have anti-slip rubber feet down here, so if you got wood floors and you're putting this on, you don't have to worry about it kicking around. The steering wheel itself also has built-in vibration functions up to 3 different sensitivity levels, so that's nice. That way you get that haptic feedback. The steering wheel turns 270 degrees, so almost a full 360, but in line with your standard automobile, so that is nice. Like I said, all plastic construction. The paddles are the most concerning thing to me. Everything else, a-okay, I'm all right with it being plastic. I do wish there was a little more texture on the steering wheel. Obviously, again, with this introductory starter level price point, you're not going to get a leather wrapped steering wheel, but I do wish it had some sort of different texture. That way when you're playing this for a long period of time, you didn't have to worry about sweaty palms and losing your grip on the steering wheel. Connecting this is very simple. So you've got this to connect into your PC or your Nintendo Switch or your PlayStation 4, and then at the foot pad you have this single cable that connects into the back, if I can line it up correctly. There we go. And then you're good to go. So let's go ahead and plug this into our Switch and the PC and see how it performs. All right, so first things first, we got it connected to the Nintendo Switch. We're playing a little bit of Cruisin' Blast. First things first, to show you, as soon as I plugged it in, the steering wheel was recognized. I can go left and right with the steering wheel, or I can use the D-pad, of course. So that's all great. The moment I started to play the first game, though, I quickly realized that the pedals were not correctly mapped. So I could still use the controls, for gas and brake, but obviously I got the steering wheel. I want to have the full driving experience. I don't want to be using this to drive the car. So I had to remap the gas and brake on the pedals down here on the floor. And the way you do that is very simple. You're just going to come over here to the PR button, aka the programming button. You're going to hold it until all 4 buttons light up. There you go. Once they light up, you tell it what button you want to program. So in this case, I'm going to step on the gas pedal. It blinks. And then you tell it what button you want it to assign. So this was originally the default gas, the A button. So I'm going to hit the A button. So now my gas pedal is assigned to the A button. So now when I hit the gas, I no longer have to hit the A button and it drives the car. You do the same thing for the brake and then you're all good to go. So let's get a race going. Oh, I missed the fast start. Holding down the accelerator so everything's good with our remap. As you can see, I can steer with the wheel. And you probably can't hear it, but there is vibration in the wheel. It is rather sensitive. To me, it just feels like the Joy-Con rumble, so it's nothing crazy. You don't feel like this thing is just absolutely shaking in your hands, but it's subtle enough to definitely feel that every time I bump into a car or a guardrail, there's definitely an impact going on. Getting some air. Let's see, so my right paddle should be my drift button. Yep, so that works. And I should be able to change my views with the Y button. All right, so that works. So everything by default, except for the gas and the brake, seems to be working just fine, exactly how I wanted it and expected it to be mapped out. So just having to do that subtle programming change on the gas and brake pedal seems to be the only thing I had to do for this game, and that was, as you already saw, relatively quick and easy. So next up, connected the steering wheel to my gaming PC, got the Dreamcast emulator running, got Daytona USA, so let's see how it goes. I will say, the moment I turned it on, steering wheel was working great, but again, just like the Nintendo Switch, I did have to reprogram the buttons and the configuration to get my gas pedal and brake aligned, because right out of the gate, they worked great for the face buttons, but the pedals themselves weren't exactly mapped correctly. So quickly remap those, and it looks like it's working, but we'll go ahead and test it just to be safe and sure. Go ahead and hit the start button. Start the race. So steering's working. There is no rumble, but I wouldn't expect there to be rumble since this is using an emulator and it's not necessarily a native connection. But the steering is responsive, the gas pedal's responsive. I can slam on the brake if I want to, but this is NASCAR. Nobody uses the brakes. But very handy, very versatile. Like I said, I like the fact that it's able to be connected to a PC, Nintendo Switch, and the PlayStation 4 versus most of the introductory steering wheel racing wheels at this price point are only good for one system. So that really kind of adds to the value of this. Build quality could be a little bit better, but again, with that introductory price point, you kind of expect the all plastic design. Next up, we've got Outrun 2006 for the PlayStation 2. Got my gas mapped. Actually do have rumble support on this one, so this is nice. With the Daytona USA, I wasn't expecting it to. And you'll see I'm driving, it tells me I need to shift up, obviously, so I'm gonna hit up on the shifter because I've selected manual transmission. Up on the shifter again, shifts through, keep going, driving the sand, feeling that vibration. I can also use my pedals. So these little plastic shifters, I can shift down, all the way down to first gear, all the way up to fifth. Obviously I'm gonna ruin my transmission, but it's good to see that we got some rumble support even through emulation. Like I said, we're using the PlayStation 2 emulator here to play this Outrun game, but it's working great. I said, steering's there, gas pedal, my shifting, everything's working as it should. I did have to, again, reprogram my gas and pedal, my gas and brake pedal the moment I plugged them in, but overall this is quite impressive. This is working with all the features and functionality even through emulation. I gotta say, I wasn't expecting that. So purposely gonna drive into stuff so you can try to hear and sense the vibration on this steering wheel. So at the end of the day, the Fury GT-EV3 is a nice introductory starting point for those just getting into the world of racing games on their home consoles or their PC. If you're interested in picking up this steering wheel, I'll go ahead and put a product link down in the video description box below. But that does it for this video review. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you found the information helpful, make sure you hit that like button and share this video with your friends. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Really means a lot.